So today's recap begins with me pulling under the 6 of what I believe to be an unsuspecting lone 109. I wait until he hits my convergence range and I open fire, but my first burst is not as accurate as I'd hoped and the 109 dives me. While I stay high and try to conserve some of my energy, this is the perfect time for me to check my 6, but I'm target fixated and I fail to notice his friend is sneaking up behind me. I attempt to dive back down into my quarry, but he sees me coming and pulls up and keeps his plane just outside of the nose of my plane. Now on a rolling scissors with the 109, I add a little flaps to give myself a little boost of lift, and it helps me slow down. As I jockey for position with the 109, I hear the engine of another plane, and I realize I'm outnumbered. As a single round clips off my fuselage, I immediately pull as hard as I can and snap roll the plane, which puts the bandit right in front of me. That maneuver was completely done on purpose and was in no way a complete fluke. Yeah. Anyway, so, little pause here. When I'm in a 2v1 and I overshoot my target, I like to extend away and force the bandit to either chase me and become an easier target for my wingman, or make him decide to continue his turn fight with the first guy, at which point I would turn back into the fight. But our sneaky Messerschmitt friend does not do that and begins to turn and climb, which allows an opportunity for me to get guns on target, and I am fortunate enough to kill his pilot in my first burst. Immediately I turn back to try to gain visual of the first bandit, and I'm able to pick up the trail of his fuel leak. I pull hard to avoid the guns of the 109, and we begin to enter a defensive spiral. We're in a little bit of a stalemate until one of us blinks, but my lack of awareness and fixation on this fight has let another 109 slip unnoticed into the party, and he takes shots at me. And honestly speaking, I never saw the guy, and I'm lucky to not be dead. Coming back to my current priority though, the 109 I'm chasing begins to level his wings out and starts to reverse while climbing. This slows him down and allows me an easy shot into his cockpit. And once again, my first burst finds the pilot, and he's instantly killed. Believing myself out of danger now, I put my nose down and I begin to extend away to recover and reset. But I'm not out of the woods, and that third 109 comes in with a large energy advantage and begins closing distance on me rapidly. Now without a target to fixate on, I begin checking my surroundings, and I pick up the bandit in my mirror. Immediately I shove my nose down to try to pick up some speed and neutralize his energy advantage. It's not enough though, and the speed difference between the two of us is just too high. Also, the damage I took earlier is probably adding some drag, which is preventing me from hitting my top speed. I see his tracers open up, and I think maybe I'm far enough away, but then I see a few rounds flash by my cockpit, and I know I need to turn immediately. As soon as I see that he's not following my turn, I turn back in and begin to follow him up in his climb. As he starts to run out of energy, he begins to pull hard at the apex of his climb, which is good for me because now he's bleeding off speed and wasting his energy advantage over me. I land a few hits in our head-on, but nothing fatal. I start raising my combat flaps so that I can extract every ounce of speed out of this dive that I possibly can. He re-enters the vertical, and I believe his intent is to try to prop hang me, but he misreads my energy, and I'm able to follow him up. And as I pull as hard as the plane will let me, I slowly wrestle him into my gun sight. At these slower and near-stall speeds, it's harder and harder to aim, so I hold down the trigger and I guide the fire hose of bullets right into his canopy. Seeing his plane go unresponsive, I know the fight's over, and I turn back west to go land. If you have any comments on what I could do better, or what those 109s could do better, please feel free to weigh in the comment sections below. But until then, I'm Jagged Fell. Thanks for watching, and fly safe.